You need to be very careful about that. All right, that means that I have 2 digits I need to round off. So the molar mass that I'm going to keep for this is 39.9971 grams of NaOH. And say that's equal to 1 mole NaOH. Okay? And that's our molar mass ratio. I'm sorry, our molar mass equality statement. We're going to use that to build a molar mass ratio. Okay? To make a conversion unit. Well, in order to use it as a conversion unit, I've got to build the one I need. I can either put this on the top or that on the top. But I want what on the bottom here, what will match the units and species that I have here. So this side here has the same units and species, grams of sodium hydroxide, that matches what I have in the beginning, grams of sodium hydroxide. So this is what goes on the bottom. And the other side goes on the top. Okay, I had people on the test that were some sort of like guessing. I don't know what they were doing, but they weren't really doing what I taught you to do. That's what I taught you to do. Okay, calculate the molar mass, write an equality statement, and from the equality statement, build your conversion unit. That way, it's right there in front of you. You can see it and see what you should put there. If you get in the habit of writing this equality statement every time, then you can also get in the habit of seeing what to put on the top and bottom and not having to just guess. Now, because I have grams on the top here and grams on the bottom here, and sodium hydroxide on the top here and sodium hydroxide on the top here, I can cancel those, like canceling x and y's in algebra. All right, so that now I am successfully at the point where I just have moles of sodium hydroxide. You can calculate moles of sodium hydroxide, put an equal sign and calculate it out here, put that over 1 and do a second problem. I'm just going to go straight to another conversion. Now, this is not a conversion unit. It is a ratio. It's a molar ratio. And what I want to do is take the starting species here and get to my ending species. And by reading the problem and seeing that I want the solid when I'm done and finding out from the equation that I wrote that zinc hydroxide is the solid that I want, I can figure out what I'm going to put on the top and bottom. Well, I always match units and species on the bottom with what's on the top in the previous step. So I've got moles of sodium hydroxide on the bottom. And since I'm trying to get to zinc hydroxide, I'm going to put moles of zinc hydroxide on the top up here. Okay? And then I want to go to the balanced equation and find what numbers to put in front of that. The coefficients in front of these two species here tell us what numbers we're going to put here. Well, if I've got 2 moles of sodium hydroxide, I need 2 moles here. If I've got 1 zinc hydroxide, I need 1 mole here. And now I can cancel units and species again. Well, the problem said we're going to collect a solid. Well, when we wrote the equation, there's only one solid over here. So if we're collecting a solid and determining the percent yield of that solid, that's what we collected. The only thing you can only determine a percent yield for something you actually collect. Okay? All right. Now we're ready for the last step here. We've got to have the molar mass for zinc hydroxide. Molar mass for zinc hydroxide. So we're going to list our elements here. Zinc, oxygen, and hydrogen. We're going to list the atomic masses for those. Zinc is 65.409. Oxygen is 15.9994. Hydrogen is 1.00794. And multiply by the number of elements or atoms in the formula. Okay, you don't worry about any coefficients. Of course, there really aren't any up here in the equation anyway for zinc hydroxide. But if there were, you still only use the number of elements in the formula itself. And in the formula, there's just 1 zinc, 2 oxygens, and 2 hydrogens. So now I'm going to do what I should have done in the beginning when I first calculated molar mass over here. I'm going to line up all of my digits really carefully. 65.409, 15.994 times 2. Are you doing these calculations with me? Good. I can already see I've got an empty slot there if I've lined up the digits carefully. 1.00794 times 2. And there's a third empty slot over there. So I've got an empty slot right here. And because of that empty slot there, I can see I've got 2 empty slots above it. So these last 2 digits over here, when I add all this up, are going to be rounded off. 65.409 plus 31.9988 plus 2.01 588 99.42368. But I need to round off the last 2 digits because these digits are resulting from empty slots. That's the way I describe the rule for rounding for addition and subtraction for that matter. Okay, those get rounded off. Draw the arrow to show that I am rounding off. And the rounded answer is 99.424 because the 6 here is 5 or greater, makes the 3 round up to a 4 grams of zinc. Should have been Zn hydroxide equals 1 mole of zinc hydroxide. Okay? I know I'm kind of writing small today because I'm trying to fit all of my calculations on one page. Okay? All right then, so now we've got an equality statement, and with an equality statement we can write in a conversion unit. Units of measurement and species need to match the units of measurement and species that I put on the bottom here need to match the units of measurement and species that I have on the top of this step. So we're going to put the 1 mole of zinc hydroxide on the bottom, and this goes on the top, 99.424 grams of zinc hydroxide. Okay? Alright, now I guess I need to move the equality down here below this. So that's going to equal then, let's do the cancellation first. Units go away, species goes away. I have grams of zinc hydroxide. That's what I need for this calculation. So I'm going to take this number and multiply it by everything on the top. Well, multiplying by ones don't really give us anything different, so I'm just going to take this number and multiply it by that one. 2.50 times 99.424. Enter, and then I'm going to divide by this number, 39.9971. Hit enter. Then I'm going to divide by this number. Divided by 2, enter. And the answer that I got was 3.107. 225. 273. Now your calculator may give you a few less digits, but that's okay. Let's see, I have units of grams in zinc hydroxide species left. Grams zinc hydroxide. I need to round that off to match the units, digits that I have in the measured or calculated number with the least digits. These ones are place keepers. This 2 is a counting number. You know, actually the 1 mole here is all a counting number. This is the counting number. What we want are the measured numbers. That's a measured number. Somebody could have weighed that out on a balance. These were calculated. So measuring calculated numbers are the ones I care about here for figuring out significant digits. It's only this number and this number and this number that are measured or calculated. And of those, this one has the least digits. It has 3 digits, so that's the number of digits I want in the final answer. 1, 2, 3, rounding off from here over. And I have now 3.11 grams of zinc hydroxide. Okay? So, that's the first stoichiometric calculation. Got to do another one now. Now we've got to start with 2.50 grams of zinc nitrate.
Wait, that's all just one problem?
That's a part of this problem. This problem, what we're doing down here, is you got to do all this to get the answer to this question.
Wait. Wow.
The same thing we did on the
Yep, same thing you did on the test on last Tuesday. This is exactly what we did. Okay, so we're starting with 2.50 grams of zinc nitrate. We already did the sodium hydroxide. Now we're going to start with the zinc nitrate. Put that over 1. All right, I need a molar mass for zinc nitrate. Zinc, nitrogen, oxygen.
99. Hold on. Oh, there.
Okay, so we've got 1 zinc, we've got 2 nitrogens, and 6 oxygens. Being careful to keep all the digits lined up neatly. 65.409. Say what now? 9994. Yeah, you would be helpful if you get out your periodic table and look it up for yourself, so you kind of get your mind in the habit of looking for those things. The more that you habitualize the kind of things you're doing for these calculations, the better equipped you are to solve the problems correctly on the test. So this is 28.0134. And then 15.9994 times 6. $95.9964. Okay, and I can see that I have an empty slot right here. So when I add all these up, I'm going to have 1 digit I need to round off. And I calculated 189.4188. So let's see, I got 1 empty slot. Round it off. I get 189.41. This 8 makes that number round up 1. So that 8 becomes a 9. Grams of zinc nitrate equals 1 mole of zinc nitrate.